using Jquery plugins. We're going to talk about what is a plugin, where to get plugins. We're going to talk about security concerns and safety tips, how to read plugin and API documentation, and then utilizing the Bootstrap and Jquery frameworks and all of the plugins that Bootstrap has. Jquery plugins. What are they and where can you find them? If you go to the Jquery website, there's a nice little tab that says plugins. So in here, it gives you this not very useful information. But ultimately, there used to be a plugin repository on Jquery, and right now they're using the npm repository Jquery plugin. So that is over here. Now, npm is Node Package Manager, and it allows you to use a command line, or there are some nice interfaces that allow you to keep packages up to date. And that's useful for not only getting new features, but that's also useful for getting bug fixes. So let's say there's a security hole or just some functionality that's not necessarily working. The developers can patch that, fix that, put that up there, and then when you run an update, it can get your updates. Now, you don't need to use a package manager, and you don't need to use npm to download these. You can just click on, for example, the plugin itself, like JS Cookie, and it loads, and it'll give you all the information. This is the install using npm, but you can get it from GitHub, and you can also download it directly. So there's a CDN installation of this. But yes, it will tell you how to use npm and your module loaders, and then it'll tell you how to use it and give you some of the documentation on it. The important thing to know is that a plugin is pre-written code that someone else has made, and it's usually single function. So here, JS Cookie helps you to cookies, and it's usually a lot nicer, a lot simpler, a lot easier than just doing it in JavaScript. We went over how to do it in JavaScript before, and as you saw, it was quite a few lines, and when you're working with multiple variables, you can be a lot of parsing. There's a lot going on, and it can be pretty difficult, whereas this is something that's really simple. So there's image cropping, there's paraparse. So if you search, chances are you'll find exactly what you're looking for, if not very close to it. So this is a good place to start when it comes to looking for things, and additionally, things that are on here are relatively safe. You definitely, they might not be the highest performing, they might lag your site a little bit, and you'll want to look at it, but chances are they're not going to be malicious code, because code that's up here does at least get reviewed, especially if it's heavily used. Another one to look at is Jquery Script Net, and this has a bunch of wonderful plugins. In fact, you can even search most popular plugins, and you can do it by year, so you can see ones that are relatively newer. And this gives you just a different interface and allows you to look at demos. And this, again, relatively safe. Not everything is perfectly safe, you can never know. Not every bug is solved, but here is usually a pretty good starting point. And then there's just Google. So if you need a file upload or anything else, you just search Jquery Plugins File Upload. The Jquery Plugins File Upload, and then it'll give you a list of different plugins you can use. Now, when you're doing this, you're gambling. So you could be downloading, especially when you're doing upload scripts or things like that, you could be getting something that is potentially malicious, and we're going to talk about that in the security section. And that's where it's really important to just read the script, read what it does, and get a concept as to what's really going on. But plugins are just really wonderful. They save a lot of time, and there are plugins for every framework out there. So if you're not using Jquery and you're using any of the other frameworks, chances are there is a plugin that will do what you want in that framework. You just have to search for that.